slowly across the balcony rail. City lights below me like a quiet glowing trail. Cars drift through the avenues in silver moving lines. Each window holds a story, live in separate times. I lean against the railing, watch the skyline breathe, letting all the restless thoughts slowly start to leave. The music in the distance from someone's open room floats across the rooftops through the midnight gloom. The wind feels gentle against my tired face, like the city understands this quiet little space. I spent the day inside the noise of voices and replies, crowded trains and hurried streets beneath the neon skies. But up here on this balcony, the world begins to slow, like time itself decided it no longer has to go. The buildings stretch forever into the quiet blue, each glowing little window holding someone new. And somewhere in that distance, another lonely heart stands beneath the same night sky, but miles apart. Maybe nights like this are where the mind can breathe, where every heavy moment finally starts to leave. The wind keeps moving gently through the city air, and for a quiet moment I feel perfectly there. The night is almost over, but it hasn't gone. Street lights glowing softly, waiting for the dawn. From the balcony I watch the skyline breathe as the restless midnight finally begins to leave. Cars move slowly now through empty glowing streets, their quiet drifting headlights soft and incomplete. The wind feels colder than it did before, like the night itself closing one more door. The towers stand quietly beneath the fading sky, hour when the restless neon glow loses its power. The buildings fade slowly from gold into gray as the sleeping skyline waits for day. Time feels softer here in this quiet space, watching the last shadows slowly lose their place. And in this silent moment between the dark and light, the city breathes softly at the edge of night. The night wind moves slowly across the balcony rail, carrying distant echoes through the sleeping city trail. Lights stretch across the skyline like rivers made of gold. Every glowing window holds a story being told. I lean into the silence with a cool air on my skin, letting all the noisy hours finally grow thin. The traffic far below me moves like drifting stars, slow rivers of headlights flowing past the bars. The music from a distant room floats across the air, a quiet little melody that somehow meets me here. I spent the day surrounded by voices moving fast, crowded streets and hurried thoughts that never seem to last. Every passing minute filled with something new, faces in 1,000 places, none I truly knew. But here above the city, the rhythm feels slow, like time itself is breathing with a softer flow. The wind touches my shoulders like a quiet friend, reminding tired hearts that every day can end. I watch the skyline shimmer beneath a velvet sky, planes crossing distant clouds as they wander by. And somewhere far below me, someone laughs out loud, their voice rising softly through the scattered crowd. Maybe nights like this are where the mind can rest, between the endless racing and the quiet chest. The buildings stand like giants in silent rows of light, holding countless stories inside the restless night. Somewhere someone's dreaming, somewhere someone's awake, somewhere someone's wondering which road they should take. And maybe they are standing on another balcony, watching the same skyline, wondering quietly. The wind keeps moving gently through the silver air, lifting small reflections from everywhere. The night begins to soften as the hours drift away, dark blue turning slowly toward the edge of gray. But for now the city glows like a quiet sea, and the only thing that matters is the calm in front of me. So I stay here breathing with the skyline wide, letting the silent rhythm move with the tide. Stretches wide tonight beneath the velvet sky. Windows glowing quietly as distant cars drift by. I lean against the balcony and let the cool air stay, watching silent stories move slowly far away. Headlights flow like rivers through endless silver streets, every passing moment echoing beneath my feet. The wind moves through the buildings with a calm, familiar sound, like the city breathing softly through the sleeping town. I spent the day inside the noise of voices moving fast, crowded trains and flashing lights that never seem to last. People rushing past me with somewhere else to be, tiny moving planets in their own gravity. But now the night feels open like an endless quiet street, colors drifting slowly beneath the moving heat. I stand above the traffic with the wind against my face, watching silent motion through the city's endless maze. Headlights flow like rivers through the avenues below, each one carrying someone with somewhere else to go. The air feels cool and gentle on the edge of night, like the city breathing through its scattered light. I spent the day surrounded by noise that never sleeps, crowded trains and hurried words and promises to keep. Every minute racing like a clock without a break, chasing quiet answers that never seem to wait. But here above the rooftops, the rhythm feels slow, like the endless skyline forgot it had to go. The wind moves through the towers like a quiet song, carrying tiny echoes of where hearts belong. Somewhere music's playing from an open window frame, floating through the distance without a name. I watch the glowing billboards flicker in the dark, tiny artificial suns leaving their mark, and every passing second feels softer than before, like the world outside the rail is something I ignore. Maybe peace is hidden in the middle of the night, when neon turns to starlight in the fading light. The skyline stretches endless with 1,000 little flames, each one holding stories and unspoken names. Someone driving home tonight, someone just begun, someone chasing dreams that run from sun to sun. The wind lifts my hair like the night knows me, like the city understands how quiet I can be. No voices asking questions, no rush to move along, just the endless breathing of the midnight song. And somewhere in that silence between the dark and blue, the neon lights are fading into something true. So I stay here watching while the night moves free, with the wind and glowing city keeping company. The city quiets slowly under midnight skies, windows glowing softly like 1,000 watching eyes. Traffic flows like rivers through streets of silver light, every passing moment breathing through the night. I lean against the railing with the skyline far and wide, watching distant stories moving with the tide. The wind carries whispers through concrete and steel, a quiet kind of music that only night can feel. All the noise of daytime has finally drifted away, leaving calm reflections where the shadows play. I spent the day inside the rut of voices and replies, crowded streets and neon oceans no one wants to drop. But now the night grows wider, like an endless sea, where every restless heartbeat finally can be free. The skyline flickers gently with scattered golden flame, each glowing little window holding someone's name. Someone writing letters, someone wide awake, someone staring quietly, wondering what to take. And maybe on another roof, across the silent air, someone stands just like me, watching from somewhere, seeing all the highways curve in quiet light, thinking small forgotten thoughts in the velvet night. The wind moves slowly past me, soft against the rail, like the calm that follows after every trail. No voices calling upward, no questions left to say, just the endless breathing of the city far away. The buildings stand like islands and oceans made of light, while distant trains are humming through the sleeping night. Time feels softer here, in this quiet place where the endless motion finally slows its pace. And somewhere in the silence between the dark and blue, the city keeps on glowing in a rhythm calm and true. So I stay a little longer as the hours pass me by, watching quiet constellations in the city sky. In the city sky. The coffee steam is rising in the quiet midnight air. City lights are glowing everywhere. I lean against the balcony with a cup inside my hands, watching distant headlights move like quiet bands. The night wind moves softly through towers made of glass, carrying distant echoes of a world that moves so fast. Traffic flows like rivers through the streets below, each pair of drifting headlights with somewhere else to go. The warmth inside the cup meets the cool night breeze, like two quiet rhythms moving easily. I spent the day inside the noise of voices and replies, crowded trains and neon signs beneath electric skies. Every hour rushing like a clock that never sleeps. Promises and deadlines and expectations we keep. But here above the movement, the city looks calm, like an ocean made of light without a storm. The wind touches the railing, cool against my skin, like the silent moment letting peace begin. I take another sip and watch the skyline glow, the quiet silver floats across the air, mixing with the traffic, soft and rare. The night feels wider when the world is far below, like standing on the shoreline of a city made of glow. Time moves slowly here with the cool and midnight air, every second softer than the hours over there. The coffee cup grows lighter as the skyline turns to blue, and the quiet, breathing city feels suddenly new. So I stay here a little longer with the wind and city view, letting the quiet midnight settle into something true. Street lights glow softly along the quiet roads, the amber reflections in scattered golden rows. Cars move slowly through the silver lanes, headlights drifting like distant trains. From the balcony above, the city feels calm, like a restless ocean without a storm. The wind moves gently through towers and air, whispering softly everywhere. I rest my arms upon the rail and watch the streets below, each passing moment moving slow. The daytime noise has faded, the voices far away, leaving only echoes of the crowded day. People chasing schedules through endless neon light, now replaced by silence in the middle of the night. Somewhere music plays from an open bar, floating through the distance, not very far. The sound blends softly with the traffic flow until the whole horizon begins to glow. I spent the day running through questions and replies, trying to keep balance beneath electric skies. But here above the motion siren in the distance moves slowly through the night, a fading red reflection across the scattered light. The city keeps on breathing beneath the quiet sky. Cars drifting through the avenues as midnight passes by. From the balcony I watch the endless silver lines, headlights flowing softly through the sleeping signs. The wind feels cool and steady against the railing here, carrying quiet echoes through the evening air. Somewhere down the boulevard a train begins to glide, its rhythm like a heartbeat moving with the tide. The day had so much motion, voices everywhere, crowded trains and hurried steps filling up the air. But now the streets are calmer, like waves that lost their storm. The endless neon chaos slowly changing form. The buildings stand in silence, their windows glowing gold, each one holding stories that may never be told. Someone working late tonight, someone staring at the sky, someone walking slowly, letting time drift by. And maybe in another room across the glowing town, someone hears the siren as it fades down. The sound dissolves gently into the midnight air, leaving only quiet everywhere. The skyline feels endless like a calm electric sea, each tower rising softly in geometry. Time feels wider here with the night so deep and blue. Every drifting moment feels somehow new. The wind moves once again through the sleeping air, lifting quiet reflections from everywhere. And as the distant siren fades beyond the light, the city keeps on breathing through the silent night. The night breeze moves slowly across a balcony rail, cool air drifting softly through the quiet city trail. Lights stretch across the skyline in lines of silver gold. Every glowing window holds a story never told. The traffic far below me moves like rivers of light, endless silent motion through the breathing night. I lean against the railing, watching towers rise, glass reflecting fragments of the dark blue skies. The wind brushes gently through my tired hair, like the calm that follows after crowded air. I spent the day surrounded by voices and replies, crowded trains and hurried streets beneath electric skies. Every moment racing like a clock. city finally forgot where to go. The buildings look peaceful in the midnight hue, like constellations resting in a quiet view. Somewhere someone's laughing, somewhere someone's alone, somewhere music echoes from a distant phone. And maybe on another roof across the silent air, someone feels the same wind standing somewhere, watching quiet highways curve through glowing lines, thinking quiet thoughts about their scattered times. The night feels wider when the noise is gone, like an ocean breathing just before the dawn. The wind grows softer as the hours pass. Clouds drift slowly above the glass. The skyline hums quietly in a gentle tone, like the heart of the city beating alone. And in this quiet moment between the dark and blue, the night breeze carries something calm and true. So I stay here watching as the hours go free, with the wind and glowing skyline keeping company. A distant train is moving through the quiet midnight air. A silver line of windows glowing somewhere there. The rhythm of the rails echoes through the town, like a quiet heartbeat, never slowing down. From the balcony above, I watch the skyline glow. Buildings made of glass and light, standing row by row. The wind moves softly through the sleeping street, carrying the distant sound beneath my feet. The day was full of motion, voices everywhere, crowded stations rushing through electric air. People chasing schedules through endless passing doors, every second racing like waves along the shores. But now the night feels wider, like an endless sea, where every restless moment can finally breathe. The train disappears slowly behind the silver towers, leaving only silence in the midnight hours. Somewhere someone riding through the glowing town, somehow true. Slowly fading into softer shades of blue. Streetlights still are glowing, but the sky is changing too. From the balcony I watch the quiet city breathe as the restless midnight hours begin to slowly leave. Cars move less often through the silver streets, their fading headlights soft and incomplete. The wind feels colder than it did before, or like the night itself is closing one more door. I spent the day surrounded by noise and crowded air, voices crossing everywhere without a moment spare. But now the world feels wider in the early morning light, when the city finally pauses after endless night. The skyline looks different in this quiet hue, glass reflecting fragments of a deeper blue. Somewhere someone's walking home before the dawn, someone finishing a shift, someone carrying on. The distant hum of traffic moves across the town like a quiet ocean settling down. The buildings stand in silence, their windows fading gold, holding quiet stories never to be told. The wind brushes gently across the balcony rail, carrying the last echoes of the midnight trail. Time feels slower now as the horizon grows, dark blue turning softly toward a silver glow. And somewhere past the towers, the first light will appear, touching glass and concrete far from here. But for now the city lingers in the space between night and early morning, in a quiet scene. And in this fragile moment before the sun is new, the fading midnight skyline feels perfectly true. Clouds move slowly across the midnight sky, above the glowing skyline where silent towers rise. The city lights below me flicker soft and gold, shining window, a quiet story told from the balcony. I watch the drifting shapes above, dark clouds moving gently through the night I love. The wind moves softly through steel and glass, carrying distant echoes as the hours pass. Traffic far below flows in silver streams, headlights drifting slowly like mechanical dreams. The day had so much motion, voices everywhere, crowded streets and hurried steps filling up the air. But now the night feels wider, like an endless sea, where the quiet breathing skyline moves easily. The clouds slide slowly across the moonlit blue, casting soft reflections across the view. Somewhere someone's laughing from a distant room, music floating lightly through the midnight gloom. Someone driving home tonight through the glowing town, someone watching clouds as they drift around. And maybe somewhere far away beyond another light, someone sees the same clouds in the same night. The wind cools slowly against the balcony rail, like the calm that follows every long trail. The buildings stand quietly with windows shining bright, like constellations resting in the velvet night. Time moves gently as the skyline glows, watching quiet clouds as the night flows. The hours keep drifting like waves across the sky, while the silent city breathes quietly nearby. And in this quiet moment between the dark and blue, the drifting midnight clouds feel somehow true. Neon lights are glowing through the midnight air, soft electric colors everywhere. From the balcony I watch the quiet streets below, cars drifting slowly in a steady glow. The wind moves gently through towers made of glass, carrying quiet echoes as the hours pass. Billboards flicker softly in distant shades of blue, casting silent colors across day was loud and restless, voices everywhere, crowded trains and busy streets filling up the air. Every hour racing like a clock that never slows, tiny moments vanishing before anyone knows. But here above the rooftops, the rhythm feels calm, like the city breathing without a storm. The neon signs are shining like artificial stars, lighting empty sidewalks in front of bars. Someone walking slowly through the quiet glow, someone driving softly through the streets below. Somewhere music echoes from a distant room, floating through the skyline in the midnight gloom. And maybe in another building across the glowing town, someone watches neon lights flicker up and down. The wind touches the railing, cool against my hand, like the calm reminder of where I stand. The skyline stretches endless through the dark blue night, windows shining gently in scattered light. Time feels wider here with the noise gone, watching quiet neon glow until dawn. The city keeps breathing in a quiet tone, like a restless heart that sleeps alone. And in this silent moment, between the dark and blue, the neon-colored skyline feels perfectly true. Grows quieter as the night moves on. Streetlights glowing softly, waiting for the dawn. From the balcony I watch the endless skyline breathe, as the restless midnight hours quietly begin to leave. Cars move slower now through silver empty streets, their fading headlights, soft and incomplete. The wind feels colder than it did before, like the night itself closing one more door. I spent the day surrounded by voices in the air, crowded trains and hurried steps moving everywhere. But now the world feels wider in this silent hour, distant hum of traffic moves across the town like a quiet ocean slowly settling down. The sky above the skyline turns a softer blue, clouds drifting slowly through the view. The wind brushes gently across the balcony rail, carrying the last echoes of the midnight trail. Time feels slower here as the horizon grows, dark blue turning softly toward a silver glow. The buildings fade gently from gold waits for day. And in this quiet moment between the night and dawn, the endless breathing skyline quietly moves on. Sky stretches above the glowing town, stars hiding softly while the lights shine down. From the balcony I watch the endless skyline rise, towers made of silver beneath the dark blue skies. Cars move slowly through the midnight streets, they're drifting headlights soft and incomplete. The wind moves gently through steel and stone like the quiet breathing of the city alone. The day was full of motion, voices everywhere, crowded trains and hurried steps filling up the air. But here above the rooftops, the rhythm feels calm, like an ocean resting after every storm. The skyline flickers with scattered golden light, each glowing window holding someone's night. Someone writing letters, someone wide awake, someone staring quietly, wondering what to take. The wind brushes softly against the balcony rail, carrying distant echoes through the midnight trail. I watch the dark horizon stretch across the view, stars appearing faintly through the deeper blue. The buildings stand like islands in oceans made of light, while the silent clouds move slowly through the night. Time feels wider here when the world below moves in quiet rivers of silver glow. Somewhere someone's dreaming, somewhere someone's alone, somewhere music away while the silent city waits for day. And in this quiet moment between the dark and blue, the night sky above the skyline feels perfectly true. Thinner as the hours pass, streetlights glowing softly on empty glass. From the balcony above, the skyline breeze as a restless midnight finally leaves. Cars move slowly now through silver streets, their fading headlights soft and complete. The wind feels colder than it did before, like the night itself closing one more door. I spent the day surrounded by noise and crowded air, voices crossing everywhere without a moment's spare. But now the city pauses in this quiet hue, glass towers reflecting the deeper blue. The skyline stretches endless across the silent view, every glowing window slowly fading too. Someone walking home tonight through the quiet town, someone finishing work as the stars go down. Somewhere a train is moving through the distant rail, its quiet rhythm drifting through the early pale. The wind brushes gently against the balcony rail, carrying the last echoes of the midnight trail. Clouds move slowly across the waking sky, while the fading stars quietly say goodbye. Time feels wider now with the darkness gone, watching silent towers wait for dawn. And in this fragile moment between the dark and gray, the quiet sleeping skyline waits for day.